Bam. All right, we'll go ahead and get things started. Thank you all for joining and taking the time. We appreciate the opportunity to connect with you. My name is Josh Horticorn. I'm the Senior Director of Sales for the Americas for small luxury hotels of the world. I'm based in San Diego, California. My team consists of Julie Owens, based in New York City, Lena Marino, based in Boca Raton, Florida, Vanessa Johnson in Houston, Texas, and Dominic Laddett, based in Brazil and works our South American market. If there's anything my team or I can do to assist, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us at any time. I'd like to highlight the upcoming webinars we have scheduled for the next several weeks. Our goal is to bring you up-to-date information from our properties in a focused manner. Should you have suggestions for a topic, or if there's a particular region of the world you're most interested in, I'd love to hear from you. Please email me directly. And if you enjoyed today's webinar, I encourage you to visit our webinar landing page for the latest list of webinars and registration links. We will continue to add new webinars as more of our hotels begin to reopen. So please do check back regularly. We have just launched our brand new SLH website, and the TA portal is on its way. We'll be sure to send out a big announcement once that's ready. In the meantime, if you may visit SLH.com to book our hotels for your clients. You choose a hotel or destination, insert the desired dates, then enter your IATA or SLH ID into the field name Travel Industry ID. Proceed with the booking. We do offer assistance with commissions at SLH.com. You're welcome to copy me. And for travel, general matters, for travel industry related matters, you can reach agents at SLH.com, or you can always reach out to me. We have our SLH GDS access code is LX, and if not already doing so, I'd really like to encourage you to utilize our VIP desk. This team is spread across the globe, speaking over 9 different languages collectively, and as you can see, this team can obtain quotes, make reservations, handle VIP requests, and much more. Now, before we begin, please ensure that your audio is muted to avoid any background noise. Agents, for any questions you have for me or for Mr. John Green, please type those into the chat box and I'll ensure those questions are answered before the end of the webinar. So that leads us to our Scotland's finest, featuring Cross Basket Hotel, Grey Walls Hotel, Inverloch Castle. Am I saying this right, John? Cromlix, and John Green, founder of JG Collection, will be presenting all 4. And with that, John, if you would like to unmute yourself and share your content, sir.
Unmuted, share content. Let's get all the emails that I need to get up as opposed to the ones that you don't want to see.
Now, I'm tired, a little sick, and I wondered if I said that third hotel correctly with my southern accent.
You did indeed, Josh, and yes, and I hope you're feeling better. I spoke to Vanessa during a storm in Houston yesterday, so that was quite interesting. And I apologize to everybody for joining Zooms. And bizarrely, I was on one for the greater good of hospitality, a little initiative called Travel East, which I had read a little bit about, Josh. And lo and behold, there I am, and our great Prince Harry is moderating. So I apologize, but I'm here now talking about Scotland.
Well, that's certainly enough to keep you delayed. I just want to mention, since everybody's here, this little monster is with me, and he's like biting my hands and feet below me. So if I feel a little out of sorts, that's what that is. And with that, John, go ahead.
Well, one of the great things about looking at pictures of your properties is not seeing faces. I really miss it. For those of you who I have been bothering 24/7 for the last 4 days that are on the virtual, thank you very much. I think we've just about got to the end, Josh, of our 106 appointment setting marathon. So thank you, everybody. More opportunities to hear in more detail about the entire collection. As Josh said, we've been very fortunate. Our journey with SLH really began, believe it or not, with just one of our properties in Scotland, which was Cromlix Hotel, which many of you will know is owned by the Andy Murray, the tennis player. And I'll talk a little bit in detail about the properties, but you have some authentic feedback. I took the weekend Literally, you're joining me now here in London at 5:05. I was probably halfway between London and Glasgow this time last week. So I visited Crossbasket on my way to Cromlix through to Inverlochy, where I stayed the night, over to the Isle of Eriska. Josh won't mind me saying because it's Aurelian Chateau, and then back across to Grey Walls, where I spent the night as well. So you have authentic feedback about how these hotels now look and feel at this very moment. But also, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the company and how it came. The four pictures I'm showing you. These are our SLH properties. Cromlix in the top left-hand corner, Inverlochy, which was our first and foremost cross.
John, we can't see your screen just yet.
Oh, okay. So I'm talking to myself, thinking I'm sharing the screen, but I'm not. Okay, let me just do that again. How's that?
It is loading now. Perfect. Well done, sir.
Excellent. My apologies, everybody. You would have had to face my face. So on this opening slide, we're a group of hotels, and the influence really came from Inverlochy. We had a number of owners in Scotland that kind of liked what we were doing. My background, for those that haven't had the pleasure, was about 15 years with Four Seasons and Regent Hotels. I became a general manager in London, where I'm based at the moment, for the Hempel and Anushka through 4 years. And when I set my company up, we have several brands that we look after out of the UK. But I've retained my affiliation very much with the States, mainly through Virtuoso, of which all our properties are members. Eriska is in application. And I think it's an important constituent, particularly for Scotland. We have many of the DMCs, and in no particular order, you all know who they are. Our friends Holly and David at Dream Escape, Siobhan at Adams and Butler. I was on the phone today to William and Christopher at Slay. I'm not going to miss out my good friend Nicola at Noteworthy, and Lux, to name the few, and you will know them all very well for the fact that they can join the dots very easily for you. But also, we, as an entity, brought together a central reservation office, for want of a better word, in Edinburgh, where Vicky and Dorota and I have probably been communicating now more than ever. Fallout of this entire epidemic through the first month, watching revenues plummet, watching hoteliers and owners in particular worried about their revenues, and equally the impact it's had on you as a community as well. So we've all suddenly been immersed in this new world that everybody talks about at the moment, and now I just felt slightly enlightened and slightly elevated. My spirits were lifted, having driven from door to door last weekend through these properties. And I will just bring some into focus at the moment. As I said, the collection is slightly deeper than just the SLH properties. We have the Isle of Eriska, we have Rockpool, the Inch. We have a collection of inns and cottages that are being used quite frequently at the moment, given what has happened and the behavioral science behind what people are doing in the UK. There's a lot of our businesses now just emanated. A lot of travel agents have turned from international bookings to domestic. So my line has been very busy at the moment. This is Inverlochy Castle. For those of you who haven't seen that iconic picture, it's 19th century. It dates back to Queen Victoria's day. Everybody said Queen Victoria is quite active back in the day. Her at the Braemar Games recently. There's a beautiful program on BBC Two for any of you get BBC programs on Isles of Scotland at the moment. It's only 30 minutes long. Last week there was a phenomenal shot of some ice climbing in Ben Nevis, because the backdrop of that castle is our tallest mountain range in the UK. That's Ben Nevis. So we get a lot of walkers, hikers, and climbers, and they were just demonstrating the winter ice climbing. And then during the summer, they took a microlight, which is a different way to see Scotland, a two-seater microlight above Ben Nevis, which clearly those type of experiences we can arrange for you as well. People ask how I can arrive at this beautiful property. The best to take the West Coast. Get into Glasgow. You can fly Glasgow, Edinburgh. There is a small airport in Inverness. For those wanting to be more experimental, why not take a seaplane from Glasgow and land on one of our locks? So it is all possible, together with helicopters, together with chauffeurs, together with cars, and it's very drivable. The challenge we have, and not overstating the obvious in terms of over-tourism, is you will find yourself falling in love with the scenery, particularly as you go north into Glencoe, that famous Green Welly stop where everybody stops for a coffee, as opposed to the House of Brewer on the A9, which is we call the Harrods of Scotland, where myself and the young, at that stage, Albert Herrera, spent a lot of time from Virtuoso, finding some good check trousers for him. He hopefully won't mind me saying that. And then you arrive at Inverlochy. It's a 19-bedroom castle, as I said. It dates back. All the rooms, as you will see from some of the imagery, are individually done. And we haven't gone down the modernistic route. I'll bring that back a little bit for you. We've decided to stay very true to the sense of Scotland. Every January, we refurbish within all those, the King, the Queen suite, we've refitted all our bathrooms. You see those TV screens are embedded into mirrors, so they don't look, it doesn't look like a technology platform for you as well. Within this modern era, and because of what we're going through at the moment, we put an app together so people can look at the menus, pre-check-in, but people want to talk to us when they arrive. Precautions have been made that we will have in all the properties for that one-way traffic, that distancing. The staff are all clad with their masks as well. But I very much got the sense while I was there of a much, to my surprise, how good the hospitality experience was versus that hospital experience that a lot of people are expecting. I was just on the call with the head of Visit Scotland, who literally was saying the same thing about how careful we've brought back the communities, because people want to go into these phenomenal destinations, and we want you to stay at our hotels, clearly. But you're not going to go to somewhere like Inverlochy Castle without going across the Glenfiddich Viaduct. I got married in a church just opposite there. It's the Harry Potter train that goes across there. That's still running at the moment. The ferry from Mallaig, though you have to book now, probably in advance, as you will in the train, is still running to Skye. So people can take that day trip round from Skye and back on the bridge afterwards as well. So everything is very reachable. And of course, you have Ben Nevis, as I mentioned. So I'm just going to show you, this is the lounge area. We've adapted the space currently at this moment. The lounge still remains as the lounge, but some of our smaller board areas and our stunning great room have been extended as restaurants, so we can get the distancing right for you. And then I'm gonna move down from Inverlochy, and I'm gonna move to Cromlix. Those of you who well, hopefully, he's actually from Dunblane, and again a little bit of sustainability piece. This hotel was derelict for many years. Andy and his family, Kim, wanted to bring it back. That little piece that you see at the front that juts out of the building is a small chapel. That's where Jamie, his brother, was married. One of the beauties of working with owners like these is that we were able to completely gut from the inside out. We brought out the restaurant that you can see slightly to the left-hand side of this. We have 16 rooms, including suites, currently there. It's Perthshire based, so it's right. Those of you who know Glen Eagles, we're within 5 minutes. And the beauty of our property, we don't feel we compete with each other at all, because you're going to get a very, very different sense just in terms of scale and size there. But we work in tandem, so people do pop across to Glen Eagles to use the spa and play golf there. We've got a very, very close relationship with them. And my good friend Jane McGee, that I used to work with at Me and Mandarin, is there now as well. So we keep in touch with them all the time. This property has done phenomenally well. Clearly, there is a name behind it that has taken us into the social stratosphere. I think their dog has more followers than the actual hotel themselves, which is somewhat reassuring. But the real beginnings of this was to help the Dunblane community. Many that will have followed Andy's story will remember the history there as well. So he's tremendously connected to the community. So this was to bring this back. When I visited last week, I said hello to the chefs. Judy, his mother, was there. Judy was currently running a tennis tournament for young girls and young boys on consecutive weeks. We're going to do that for adults. We've got the only 2 Wimbledon-coloured tennis courts there at Cromlix. And why do we have that? Well, you can only have those colours once you've won Wimbledon, which is great for us. It opened. It really gives you a chance to kind of experience a building as it was, but it has really been brought up to the 21st century. All the rooms are named after Scottish icons, Sean Connery, Sir Alex Ferguson. This was Kim and Andy themselves that named them all as well. We've got a phenomenal whiskey room in this property. Our afternoon tea is a must. A lot of people in the area stop by for afternoon tea. Many will take the trip out to Perth, out to Stirling. It's amazing. There's concert venues there as well. Some of the Scottish bands. I saw Rod Stewart play in Stirling Castle. I'm probably showing my age. I've befriended the best producer of Wagyu beef in the area. He runs his farm very, very close by. It's got a phenomenal restaurant close by there as well. So gastronomy is clear. We've got a partnership, if I haven't mentioned it previously, and I probably wouldn't because it's not prevalent in Inverlochy, but it most definitely is at Cromlix with the Roux brothers, and that's Albert and Michel. Many of you will know him and them as brothers who run and operate the Gavroche. They also operate the hotel in the Langham, London. So they've become part and parcel of family and friends. And for those of you who know the intricacies of finding a chef in Scotland, in the wilderness, to have somebody like Albert and Michel in our arsenal very much gives us the opportunity to be able to continue their training on. Some of them moved to the Gavroche and other named restaurants in London, the Square, where they're engaged in training as well. Our properties now, believe it or not, we've pivoted with an owner from Scotland into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we have 2 properties on the island of Bequia, one of which is operated by SLH, called the Liming. So our chefs and our staff get trained in some of the greatest destinations where they can learn their trade. They're very passionate about their food and bring those recipes back. Here are the rooms that you can see. As I said, there's 16 in total. Several of them are suites. We've got a beautiful gate lodge there. Just as we have at Factors Inn, we have the Factors Cottage and the Factors Inn. So there's little intricacies if you don't know the brand that well, but have a look at the website because they're all contained there. So it does cater for different tastes, but also different budgets as well, particularly with the Factors Inn and Factors Cottage at Inverlochy as well. And they're all bookable through the system as well. I'm just going to move slightly through there. You can see with Cromlix itself, we gave it a little bit more of a contemporary feel within the interior as well. We stayed true to the identity. For those of you that read the Saturday or the Sunday Times, we had a beautiful 2-page spread that last week, very complimentary about the way the hotel has reopened and re-engaged. Phenomenal surge of bookings as a result of it, which was absolutely great. We're grateful to our friends at the Times for helping us do that. I want to move to Grey Walls. For those of you who are familiar with golf, the beautifully Luxon design building, which has 23 keys, as we call them, within the entire grounds. That is Muirfield, the golf course. Edinburgh, you're probably going to be with us within about 30 minutes. I checked out Tom Kitchen's place in Gillane. The entire East Lothian area where Grey Wall sits is surrounded by beautiful golf. There is no escaping that. Gillane has 3 courses. You've got Renaissance and Archerfield on the doorstep there, and North Berwick. So there is a very, very golf-centric feel to the area. But we find a lot of people, particularly now, that perhaps are going to be slightly less adventurous and going straight into Edinburgh, taking this as an option and using Edinburgh for that day trip. Phenomenal walled gardens. I don't think I've done them this particular picture because I spoke to the gardeners myself. And the great beauty of having outdoor space, particularly when the weather is like this in London, is you get the opportunity to bring the restaurant and the afternoon teas and the drinks into that area as well. These were maintained right the way through lockdown. And I can say the abundance of color out there at the moment is amazing. And we have some cottages and some outer buildings that maintain the same standards of grey walls that are dotted around the grounds as well. For those who are thinking, well, I do want to venture into the hotels, but maybe at first I'll stay in a gate lodge or I'll stay in a cottage on the outskirts, you can as well. And when I say outskirts, you're within 20 or 30 yards of the property themselves, each to their own. But I think the great beauty of having ICMI hotels within SLH is they are, as the name suggests, small, 23 rooms. So we're particularly careful. We've got historic buildings that have lots of lounge spaces, lots of areas, whiskey rooms. We have one here at Grey Walls. We have a sunroom at Grey Walls that we're using as an overflow for the restaurant as well. My favorite room, as you're just about to see, is there at the whiskey room. That is probably as big as it is. You could sit 10 people in there and it would be full. But if you cast your mind back to, I think, 2014, that had Phil Nicholson in it and Ernie Els and all the golfers that were playing the Open at Muirfield. You literally walk out of that bar and 30 yards, you're on the 10th tee at Muirfield. And for those of you who do need assistance with golf, we can help that. And we centrally source it. We've developed a relationship with Muirfield over the last 12 years. We are given tee times now that we package into Scotland. So what we find is a lot of people arriving there and wanting to play Scotland. We can arrange that for you. And we can then search for Gullen, Archerfield. Renaissance is a private club, but we're members there as well. So we have a lot of opportunities to be able to put that together as well. Not least, I'm coming to Crossbasket. Now, Crossbasket was the more recent development within the ICMI portfolio. Even though that castle dates back to the 17th century, what you see at the front there is pretty much what was left originally until the owners came across it. I mean, it's steeped in history. You have a Stuart boardroom. It's beautifully restored at great expense, I have to say. We have like a 4-story turret suite that you can just see to the left-hand side that is used for a lot of brides and grooms. There is only 9 rooms within the castle itself, but it's surrounded by 30 acres of grounds. This property sits on the suburbs of Glasgow. It's called Blantyre. Lies into the centre of Glasgow. It would be 10 minutes. And again, that's playing well for us at the moment, that people that don't want to venture into the centre have the option to visit the centre quite easily. But also it's a great gateway to the south. And for those of you who know my good friend Ralph, they're Porciani down at Turnberry. You're going to take in Troon, Prestwick. The golf course is there. The coastline of Ayrshire is stunning. Nottingham Lodge is a bit further on where the 39 steps came from as well. There is a lot to do within the area as well, and a lot to do with the grounds. Again, we've opened up the exterior for pre-dinner drinks when, of course, we have the right weather. There's one thing that I always say about the Scottish weather. Just can't guarantee what it's going to be. So we've got provision because we have bars, restaurants, lounge areas within there that you will see. So some of these images there, that is the lounge area. Again, afternoon tea is a bit of a must within all the properties. Again, we're helped by Rue. It's actually his daughter, Michelle's daughter, that is the chef there at the moment. Just going to do insight to the bedroom. I'm always reluctant to throw kind of bedroom shapes and bedroom sizes and quantities of images at you. I just kind of want, in this kind of, I suppose, passage that we call it of time, is to give you a sense of what the property is about. Because we realize when people are coming as far afield, they're probably going to take in Ireland, they're probably going to take in London, and all our good friends, Stuart at Stafford, Ruth at the Ritz. They're going to go and see Christine at the Four Seasons, and they're probably then going to go north to drive and be ambitious, or they're probably going to take a flight or the overnight Caledonian sleeper out of Euston Station and arrive slightly refreshed in Inverness, and then they can move around. I always recommend going to Inverness first, because at some point you're going to want to take in Glasgow or Edinburgh. By the way, a big shout out for my walking tour that I did in Glasgow. I did the Graffiti City walking tour in Glasgow. It was phenomenal. I brought my 2 kids with me. They have the attention span of a gnat. And this young lady from the university who gave us the guided tour, walking tour of industrial Glasgow, and all the artwork that's been done there was just phenomenal. And of course, I live over in the UK, so I should be doing this all the time. Most will see from my social post, I'm cycling everywhere in London and taking shots of all the hotels that are yet to open. So I'm very passionate about our industry. But I think back to Scotland, when you come to us, our central office is there to assist you. We will never replace the great work that all those amazing on-sites do, because the intricacies of having your tartan in a certain color, a bagpipe lesson of some description, that can get technical, and that's where those great companies and tour guides and transportation guys come in. We can join the dots as far as duration and what to do. We'll have more information on our website about what is physically open in those areas. But do let us know. Book via the SLH portal, go online there as well. But come and talk to us afterwards about where you can do. And the great beauty of having several properties, if the itinerary doesn't work, because believe it or not, during summer, when Inverlochy usually fills, we're recommending Isle of Erris because it's 30 minutes away, which had a £2 million facelift, and it's on its own island. I apologize, I won't plug the non-SLH property anymore, Josh. But it's important for you to know that you have some more assistance on a kind of hotelier level. And for those that want to go into more intricate detail, which I know you all like to do, there as well. Happy to support and help in any way. I hope I haven't talked too much, Josh, as I tend to do.
You're doing excellent, John. You can continue.
Excellent. I don't know if I've got any questions.
Agents, for any questions, let me know. It looks like everyone's loving you, John.
Really? I can't. I'm so focused on my notes and my. I know I won't have picked anything up there, and names on that list as well who know these properties as well, if not better. I think I've seen Alicia's name pop up there as well. Big kisses. Yeah. Anything that we can do outside or inside Scotland without detracting from Josh. Obviously, we have the property, as I said, in Beckway, which we're looking forward to opening at Christmas, which is an SLH property. For those with the latest update on London, I think our Vintry and Mercer and our Ampersand Hotel are destined for September, Josh. We're talking to Roberto and Miguel about those at the moment. It takes a little bit longer, as everybody's experiencing with the city at the moment, but Scotland, it's just a great place to be at the moment. And because of the scenarios that we're having here in the UK, which I think are probably mirrored in the US at the moment with what's happening in Spain, we're finding a real uptake. We literally launched a whiskey tasting, wine tasting, gin tasting, because it's very popular within Crossbasket Castle, and we put it on the market for 4 days. It was sold out, and we're doing 3 sittings. Now, we didn't do too much selling behind it. We talked a little bit about the narrative of the gentleman that was going to give the talk, but it just gives you an idea, I think, and hopefully you can take some of that positivity with you for when things do return to whatever a new normal is. I kind of hate the word new normal. Whatever that may be, that there is pent-up demand there. And I'm talking to a lot of US advisors about it, particularly with Virtuoso Symposium coming on. So there's lots of dialogue going backwards and forwards. we cross our fingers and hope for better days for all the agents that are probably on this call, that are finding it. And if there's anything you can take away from this, is that once you've walked through hotels, to have done so last weekend, it's uncanny that, and I've been doing this for 30, 40 years, that you somehow forget what it feels like to have a drink served to you and to sit in Eriska and get Andy to deliver a Michelin star food at distance and safely. And I kind of walked away there. It was really emotional, I have to say, but thoroughly enjoyable. And just hang in there on that side, because it will eventually come. We have to be positive about this.
It's so true, John. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you presenting just stunning properties. SLH agents, thank you all for joining. Really appreciate your support. Please join us on Tuesday of next week. I have All Around Italy featuring 4 hotels that I know that you'll love. Any other questions for John? Doesn't like we'll have any. I've sent your email address, John, for those that don't have it. So I think
come and bother me at the virtual. I got very aggressive, Josh, on my pendings last night. So myself and one of the on-sites here saying, okay, we have to let the pending invitations go because we can't get any more.
Well, I was actually going to ask you that. What I didn't realize, I thought the system knew the difference between my company and me. And so all these appointments I was confirming, thinking that surely it won't allow me to continue confirming appointments. Well, it was, because it was confirming appointments for the company and then for me. And I can't stop.
Oh, wow. Well, you're a celebrity, you just have to divide your time up or get Vanessa to come.
Do you know that I haven't actually requested appointments with almost no one?
Look at you. You just a celebrity, Josh. You know,
right.
Like me, you know, small properties within Scotland. But no, I've been enormously
I'll pay
great.
Later.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.